You're now listening to So You Were Saying
with Dora and Lex.
Tune in every Friday for the latest episode. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
We are back with another episode of So You Were Saying.
It's your girl Dora.
And Lex.
We back.
Hey, we gotta figure out an intro that works, honestly, because with the arm weight.
Shake. I always feel like this works, but
I don't know. I think we should actually get an intro that we can just pre-record and just
things
have
cost
it ready.
money. And
what? What?
I ain't your mama. Okay, wait. Stop. Copyright.
Okay.
Copyright.
Anyways, we're back, guys, and today's topic is: Are we even friends?
Are we even friends?
Are we even friends? And Dora picked this topic.
Okay, first of all,
you did.
Yes, I did, because I think it's an important topic to have a conversation about.
Why?
Because we are women of a certain age, and by a certain age, I by no way, shape, or form. Whoa, I can't do this right now. Am I indicating that we are old? But we are women in transition that have a friendship.
Preach.
That is going through transitions because of those transitions.
Big facts.
So I'm here to just be full disclosure, because I know we can't be the only ones going through what we're going through. And for some, it's easier than others.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a difference and a very interesting dynamic, because in our situation, you became a mom and I became a single. And stayed a single. So it changes everything. And that's also a big thing within friendships. And that's why many times you also see parents become friends with other parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people say, oh, I got pregnant and I lost all my non-pregnant and non-mommy friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked up
that's
all,
true.
mommy friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because naturally it just happens. And I think it's a conversation that's not had as much. And I feel like many times through transitions, through friendships, we're just like, oh, it's just life and whatever. And it's just oh, well, let bygones be bygones and let those people fall behind.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like you do a really good job of not falling into that category.
But again, there are struggles.
No, absolutely.
So that's why I just thought that this is a very good conversation, because I don't think people are as transparent, and they just put it into the predicament oh, just please understand, the day that you get pregnant, you'll lose all of your. Because I've heard that so many times. Literally people say
but I don't feel like it's that, I don't feel like it's that extreme. I feel like it will require adjusting on both parties.
Right.
But that's with any transition in life, because I became a mom, but now you became a couple.
Right.
And that also shifted our dynamic a lot. So it shifted first when I got pregnant, not when I got pregnant per se, more so after I gave birth, because that's when my time was no longer my own.
Right.
But then it shifted again when you got into a relationship, because then that also.
But it shifted before that. It shifted. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. There are layers. Let's just get into it.
There are layers.
There's no introduction. We're just
diving in.
Welcome to the cooking pot. Okay. So there was a transition. I remember. So going back to, and this is something that I do have memory about. Because I know in the previous
episode she got memory.
I got memory. So there's certain things that I do remember, and then other experiences that I don't. And as time goes on, I push those back to within my filing cabinet in my head, and then they disappear. Mm-hmm. Whatever. But I remember specifically when the whole pregnancy thing came about.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I mean, yes, there were many reasons why I was girl, you sure you ready? You sure you ready?
Different topic, girl.
You sure this is what you want? Right. And again, we've been very candid about, and we had a whole in-depth, if you have not heard that episode, and I wish I knew the name of the episode right off the top of my head, but I
want to say it was in season 1 though.
It was, but it was very, very transparent. About what that experience was. And I think that's one of the things, like, outside of just my concerns within the pregnancy and the timing of everything. The second concern that I knew is, oh, like, our friendship is going to change.
Yeah.
Like, our friendship is going to change drastically.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, like, you know, I love my goddaughter, and for us, it's a different level, because it's not just you didn't just give birth to your daughter, you gave birth to my goddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different bond that I have with her. So, like, I never see her as
a burden,
per se, like, where other people with friendships and stuff like that, it's like, oh, she has to bring her kid. Like, you know, she gets to bring my terrorizing minion.
My terrorizing turtle.
My snapping turtle. Depending on what day she might want to slap people. We're working through that. Many steps.
Yeah.
Many steps. Sorry, Damien.
Oh my God, the poor kid. She slapped.
Okay, anyways. But funny moments. But my point to that is, I knew that there was going to be a level of our friendship, like, outside of that. Like, I always knew that I was going to, and this is prior to me even knowing that she was going to be my goddaughter. But it's just in general, when you have children, it changes the dynamic. It changes your attention span. But the other layer to this whole situation was when your co-parenting situation became so toxic.
That's y'all gonna get that episode one day. It's not today.
Yeah, no, so I'm not. But that, to me, whether you ever knew it or not, created a different level of difficulty. Because
it did.
You yourself, like, this is outside of just you having a child now and being a mom, but you yourself changed as an individual during that time frame.
Rough moments.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, so I'm dealing with, like, I have my friend. And again, I've always appreciated your friendship.
We're not going to cry. We're not crying today. Do not get me emotional, please. Get the tears out of your eyes, because I can see them and I'm going to start crying. And I do not want to cry today.
Whoa, why?
It's like, where do these emotions come from? That was me last week.
Like, literally, I was about to say, I'm like,
frog in my throat. I got a frog in my throat.
What? I was like, don't burp in these people's faces. Disgusting.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. But
bringing it back.
Woo. Trying to breathe. Okay. And you want to know what? Before we started recording, I wanted to say, how transparent you trying to be?
Yeah, nah, go ahead. No, be honest. Be transparent.
Because I'm like,
you can give as many details as you know. I'm an open book, so you can give.
No. I'm not giving details as far as like that, but I'm like, you really want to know what my brain was going through? Because
I'm curious, yeah, because you've never expressed this to me in this fashion, in this way. So I am kind of very curious to know what it is that you were dealing with in regards to our friendship, and how my life, the things that were going on in my life affected you. Because realistically, naturally, when you care for people, whatever's happening in their life affects you. It just does. Oh my God, I didn't know it was like, she's crying right now. I'm sorry. So we just need a minute. We need a minute. She's trying to bounce back.
I'm trying to do the Elmo bounce to get it away.
Oh my God, the Elmo bounce.
You remember the Elmo bounce?
That's what you look like.
He does this rocking thing right back and forth. Yeah.
Oh,
I love
God.
children, y'all. like what I'm about to say next is like the attack to
Oh my God.
No. It's not that. It was a very difficult situation to walk through, because the one thing, what I was going to say before, is that I've always been very detached. Like, I feel like through life, and I think we've had this conversation, like, I've had certain friendships. My circle has always been very small, but I realized that my answer to conflict, when it was past a certain point of whether it was that person stepping into a role, position, season in their life that I didn't necessarily agree with, my reaction has always been to be like,
to leave.
Yeah. Like I wish you the best, but that's not in alignment with me. I can't help you through these situations this season. I am very much also like an empath. So like the people that matter to me, like their energy, emotions, whether they say it verbally or do not, really much reverberate. Like I don't need you next to me to know like there's something wrong with my person.
Yeah.
Like I need to search something ain't right with you. Why'd you walk in like this? You know, and I've always been very much, and you can ask any of my friends, it's that. Anytime that they've been down or like, you know, I'm like, something's off here. Why you smell different? But when it came to that whole season, like you decided, you're like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, be pregnant and have my child. And then when your co-parenting situation became so toxic, and through conversations, and again, like, I don't think like there was this one specific conversation that you, damn, do I really want to say
Go
this?
ahead.
Yeah.
You've already started, sis, so you might as well finish.
So there's this one specific conversation between us that you were like, why didn't you like scream from the rooftops that you saw so many red flags? Right? And bruh.
Anger. Like I did.
And like I did say things, but it wasn't enough.
You're gonna make me cry. You know why you're gonna make me cry? Because more so recently, right?
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Before you say that, because I just want to finish my point.
Okay.
Because I just want people to understand, it's not your responsibility to live for anyone else. But when you care for people, like you said, it's very difficult to not, like, when your people are not in a good space to, and you know that you foresaw certain things, like, you really put yourself like, well, did I really do everything under the sun to be able to push back on that conversation? Or did I just say, okay, well, people are going to make decisions in their life that are based on, you know, their knowledge, and you can't, you know, whatever. Like, I've realized that throughout my life, sometimes I've had knowledge, whether it's my own knowledge from my own experiences or because I've seen other people and have learned through seeing their struggles. And I could have easily said, no, wait, hold on. This is a conversation that we need to have more in depth because, you know, whether it's so-and-so was going through this or this other person or that other person. And I think there might be a couple of details that you're not paying attention to. Right. And also there's a couple of details, and specifically, you know, in your situation where, you know, I don't know, for me, and Alexis and I have had this conversation, but it's very telling of a man that is not willing to commit in a formal, and I don't want to say marriage, because marriage is just a paper certificate. But what I'm saying is just like wholeheartedly be in a relationship with you, but also at the same time is okay with having children with you. Like for me, there's a disconnect there, and I'm like, this is the red flag for me. This is a red flag for me because I'm like, wait, make it make sense. Like, because children to me is the ultimate commitment. So how are you okay with the ultimate commitment, but this other commitment of holding you down and putting basically an official title to it, knowing that that person wants that, right? Because again, if that person doesn't want it, then what are we talking about? It don't matter. Right. But if the understanding is marriage is what I want, what's keeping you from hopping into that? And I personally think that many people that struggle with commitment and do these like lifelong things, but oh, I don't want to step into that, or I don't believe. It's because there's some sort of unresolved trauma behind there.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, even if you're a lifelong partner with somebody, at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, I could just dip out. And I don't have to go through the divorce process. And because marriage, like, as much as like it's legally binding, it gives you another hurdle that you have to overcome before you could say, I'm completely out.
Yeah.
Right. But children, it's something that you're never out. Right. So I'm like, wait, what? So something that you can never get out of, but something that you can get out of, you're not going to, like, what? Make it make sense to me. But that's, again, my prerogative, my perspective. But that held, like, that sat in my heart very, very deeply. Like, I sat in that and I was like, damn, was I like the best friend that I could for you at that time?
There is nothing that you could have said at that time of my life that would have changed my mind about having my daughter. And it's crazy because I sit and even after I left, right? Even after I left Penelope, I was still very much blaming him for a lot of the things that was happening within our co-parenting situation. And it wasn't until more recently that I had to take a step back. And this is what we were talking about in the last episode about that victim mentality. I had to get out of that with the situation of my daughter. Because realistically, he's been who he's always been from the beginning. That was on me. Like, everything beyond that was on me. And I did not take that at first. Not at all. It was like, no, we did this. And it's like, no, Alexis, you did this. Because realistically, he's been who he's always been. And it was your choice to, go through with this pregnancy. And that took a lot. That took a lot of self-reflecting and many, many, many conversations, not just with myself, but with you, with myself, with him, with my therapist at this point. Y'all, I'm in therapy. Shout out to my therapist because she's thebomb.com. But that took a lot of, oh, you really cannot blame anybody but you.
Right.
So there was nothing that you could have said or done that would have stopped me from having her. And different episode, we'll definitely touch on this in a different episode, but as many moments as I've gone through where it's like, why did I have her? I needed her to leave the toxicity that I was in. Right. I would have never left. There is nothing that anybody could have told me. And that's why I said I had to do a lot of self-reflecting because I was so deep into that relationship. It didn't matter. I knew and saw every red flag there was. But if you would have asked me at that time in my life, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? I could not have imagined my life without that man.
Right.
And then I had my daughter and it was like, oh, wait a minute. This is not where I want to be in 5 and 10 years.
So there's a second layer to this.
Yeah. So it's just like, I get it that you feel like as a you could not have done or said anything.
No. What I'm saying, there's a second layer to my response to that.
Oh.
I was like, oh,
Continue.
Okay. No, that's fine. I was like, you can say whatever. I know that. Like everything that you've just disclosed, I know that. Now, my journey as a friend and to those that have been in similar situations is I took that shit personally.
What do you mean?
I took it personally. Like there's a sense of it's weird, but I feel like or at least my aspect, and this is all through my own, I guess, when we left off, we prefaced in the other episode that we recorded in August. So August to June that we're in now, 2023, I feel like for a portion of our friendship, I was angry. And angry.
Oh, you absolutely were.
Like it was angry that that conversation even happened, to be completely honest. Because even though like your realization to that now exists, when it took place, I took it like I had dropped the ball as a friend. But at the same time, I was angry that you wouldn't take accountability for your part in it. And I was angry at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was weird, the timing of everything. Because as this conversation, emotions were coming up to play, I was also stepping into a season of not being single. And that's why if you listened to the other episode, I was like, I started it by saying, Lord Jesus, how did you give me the happiest moment of my life with the most uncertainty, confusion, painful, just anger, every ism that you can add at the same time? Because I felt like it's like, yeah, we weren't communicating as much. And I said, yeah, you know, like my life as being in a couple is boring. But I also felt like you were so in that stage of your life where you hadn't had that realization, that awareness, and you were angry. Like I was angry at you because of, like, I was sad because I quote unquote didn't do enough. But I was angry because you didn't take awareness enough. And then you were just angry because of your situation. Yeah. So everybody was just angry.
It was just a lot happening.
It was just once. A lot happening at once. And then it's like, oh, but I'm expected to give conversation about how happy I am in my relationship. The math wasn't mathing.
Well, because I'm not that person who's... I've been happy for you in your situation since you've gotten in it. And I can't say that there was ever a point that I was not, you know, like there are times where I reflect on my own situations and often, you know, compare, right? That was not one of those times. And I don't know if it's because you are who you are to me or if it's because I don't know the reasoning. But to me, you deserved every ounce of happiness that you were going through. That didn't matter what I was going through. Like, I wanted to hear all of your happy because I've heard all of your sad.
Right.
And it didn't matter at what stage of my life I was going through. When we were going through something and we called the other person, it's like, I need to vent. Okay, great. So I didn't want you to feel like you couldn't share your happiness with me just because my life wasn't happy at that point in time.
And I know that, like, logically that makes sense, but like I think just unconsciously that's what like my brain went to. It's just like, limit, just say enough where it's just like, okay, but don't, because you understand the reality of what is taking place currently.
I can clap for you and cry for myself simultaneously.
Yeah, no, and I understand that. And again, logically, I understand that. And in many situations, like when there's been, you know, times where it's the opposite, like I've been in a very like downtime, you know, like during deaths and just having to deal with my grandparents and everything like that. And you at that point were not in that stage. You were very much in your relationship, you know, as much conflict or whatever behind the scenes, what you realized or didn't. But realistically, you were happy. You were living the life that you thought you needed at that point in time. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that, like, yeah, I could do that, like the opposite. But I think it's so weird. And I want to be able to articulate this correctly, but when it comes to this specific situation, it's like such a mind bust because you're dealing with the fact that, yeah, you brought this child that I love very much. You ended this relationship that you had to. Sorry, boo. You had to go. And then it's just like we have our friendship. And then it was like, then you had Penelope. And it was like such a weird dynamic of everything because, again, logically, I knew Lex had to take responsibility. Lex's situation was Lex's alone because of her own doing. But realistically, because you care so much for this individual, it's like that older sister, I'm going to take people out.
Yeah. You know when I realized you were angry? I didn't know you were angry at me. I knew you were angry at the situation. And the day that I realized it was the day that I had the photo shoot. And do you remember the day that we had the photo shoot and he basically did what I'm not going to disclose too much, but he did what he did and you were with your person in the car and I called you. I was late for the photo shoot that day because of everything that he was doing.
Right.
Do you remember that day?
Yeah.
So that's the day that I realized that you were angry at my situation.
So, right. And like, just to clarify, like, that's exactly, like, I wasn't necessarily angry at you per se. I was angry at the situation and angry of where it had taken a turn. And because there was, just like everything else, a secondary person that I could be like, it's you. Like, we didn't have these problems when you weren't around. You
right,
know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, it just, like, I had to also, like, check myself on that. And I can't say that it's perfect. I don't think it'll ever be perfect.
No.
There definitely is, like, I just realized I just needed space. I was like, yeah, I just need, like, it's just.
You needed the distance from me.
It's not even the space from you. I needed the space really from the other person.
But and that's a whole topic that we're going to have one day about how when you become a co-parent, how the other co-parent affects everything else going on in that person's life.
But
like they have that power. And it's not that you give them that power. It's that it's just a natural part of the separation of the, you know, having to co-parent.
Right. But that's like something that was really like, because it wasn't like there in every layer, like that day there was plans. Then they didn't go according to that individual. Then that individual decided, okay, not going to.
Right. Because I don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I just want to, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that to me was like, wait, what? Like, y'all understand that there's money. Like, it's just, there's investments, there's, you know, things that are going, like, this is at that point we needed.
Yeah. This is work.
And it's just like then having to put in then my person to fill in for the person that should always be there. Right. Because it's just like at the end of the day.
Oh, right. That is how that played out. Your person ended up coming to help.
Right.
With
Turtle. He was not part of it.
Because yes. Oh my God.
He was not part of it. I had to just call him and be like,
hey, we need the extra hands.
Yeah. Because I was like, this is not going to work.
Shout out to your person for being such a great automatic stepping godfather. That's what I call him, because that day he definitely showed up.
Right. And it's so funny because nothing in this life happens by accident. But our two closest friends' lives mirror very closely. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
I did not realize, if you wouldn't have told me that you were angry at me, I would have never known.
But it's
outside of that situation. Like I said, that's when I noticed you were angry at, like, just at my situation. But I didn't realize that you had been angry at me for not taking responsibility for my own life at that point in time. I never knew that.
So I want to be very careful with that word of anger. I wasn't angry per se. I was upset because, like, and I want to preface, like, because anger is like for me, it's a very strong word.
Mm-hmm.
So anger comes with this whole other layer of like, I want to put my hands on you type of thing, versus I was more hurt by the fact that you were not like that. That hurt me emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make me like angry, like I want to put my hands on you. You know what I mean?
It was
like,
more like grow up.
Yeah, it's like I wanted you to take accountability.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do this quickly, please. Because like
do it now.
Yeah, like do this quickly now, because like we don't have out of this situation.
Yeah.
And it's just
already
like,
here.
It's already here. We're not like, and I felt like at a certain point my my guidance through conversations was just that I was like, when are the circumstances changing? They're not, right? Okay, so I guess we have to change.
Right.
Like,
well, that's the thing too. That also comes with a level of maturity, a level of not just accountability, but really, I want to say, I just want to leave it at responsibility. Actually, that comes with a level of responsibility to self and being able to be like, all right, like you effed up,
right,
and you got to put your big girl pants on. And you don't have time for this shit. So, you know, I wasn't ready at that time to take that on. Like, I wasn't ready to process the fact that I had fucked up.
Right.
It was like, no, it's because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So all of the guidance that you could have possibly given me in conversation would not have mattered because I was not mentally ready to take it on.
And I think that the like fifth layer to that is I also this is not a quote unquote problem that does not have a solution. Like there's many individuals that have gone through experiences that you've experienced. But and to me, like as your person, I was like, girl, there's other people that are swimming. Like we just need to swim.
Swimming.
Like we just need to swim. Like at this point, it's just I didn't, and me being who I am, I'm just like, I get stuck on many things, but it's just like, I've always, and I think this is the main reason why I've survived so many things in a sense is because good, bad, and indifferent, I've concentrated on the solution. Like I didn't, like I've attempted and God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, has brought me to my knees and said, you want to know what? Okay, you touch bottom. Let's get back up. And let's keep going. Because I kid you not, like, even when it came to, like, the divorce aspect, like, and that's, like, the closest thing that I can compare it to something
right
as big as what you experienced, right? That's how I felt. I felt like I could not walk, breathe. And then I hit that rock bottom, and then I was like, wait, hold up. There's nothing else here.
Yeah.
Like we have literally touched and gotten as bad as it could.
Yeah.
Like with the level of anxiety, problems, lack of sleep. Like it's just the only thing past this is death. And Lord, it seems like you're not taking me out. So
with that being said, God, right. Where are we going from
exactly.
Here?
So I guess there's still more air in this, tank for me. So let's figure it the hell out.
So then let me ask you, when did it shift? When did you stop being upset? Because our friendship definitely shifted multiple times over the past year.
Right.
In the way that we communicate, in the time that we spend with each other. And I mean, granted, we don't spend much time with each other, you guys, because we just don't got time.
And we also don't live as close.
We don't live as
because literally there's been days I'm like, I wish you just lived off the block. Because
I know. I just want to
sit.
I
don't want to talk. I just
need to be
sit.
in your presence.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not as simple anymore, obviously, because I live so far. But when did it shift for you?
I think that was also when I took my own personal journey through realizing that I needed to give time back to myself for 10 years of not giving time. Because when I put myself in the box that I needed to be in, I was like, well, y'all gonna have to suck your mothers. I don't. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna suck today. No, I'm so serious, and that's not to disrespect anybody, but it's just one of those things. Like, I'm sorry, like, I just have to take this time to be in my box. And no, I can't really explain to you why I need to be in this box or what it is. Again, like I said in previous episodes, that box might have changed different colors. It's none of your business. It might have been dirty on certain days. Mind your business. It might have shifted. It's not coming towards you. It did not call you. If I called you, I didn't mean be in the box. I said go be around the box and just for a little bit. I'm just saying. And that's how I kind of live my life now.
Oh my God.
But that also had to do a lot with the shift with my person, because my person's very much like that. And it was a lot of difficult conversations that I had with him regarding of, again, our people mirror lives very similarly.
Right.
And that person in his life, there's many people, obviously. So my person, right, being my partner.
We have to give him a nickname.
Yeah, but not right now. I haven't mentally not there. But my person's other person, side person, friend, is a couple of steps ahead of your journey, but very much so experienced your journey, but plus, I don't know, 4 years.
Yeah.
Right. And I asked him from his perspective of being somebody that was very much invested and who is very much invested into his friendships and does very well of compartmentalizing all of it. How do you deal with this? How do you deal with X, Y, Z, and the third? And the best advice that I was given was sometimes you just got to let people sink in their shit. And that to me was shocking. I was like, no way. Like, and
it's like, you mean we don't save them?
Exactly.
Like literally, it's like you telling me we don't like reach our hand out and try to pick them up, and it's like, no, they gotta climb up by themselves.
Right. And like literally, like in not so many words, it's like, yeah. And I was like, and you still consider yourself their person?
Right. Like, you're still their friend?
Right. And he's like, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
But he's right.
And I was like,
nobody could have saved me from where I was at mentally. Like, no one.
Right.
So I agree. 100%.
That's pretty much like the trajectory of what took place. And then now I feel like we just got to a point where we're just, I don't know, like I feel like you're coming into this era of you owning your space more and you being comfortable in that. So that makes me a bit more comfortable to be able to express things and say things. And
to be back in my space.
Yeah. Because it doesn't involve like, and again, I think also partially, and even when it came to like even recording, remember the comment that I made?
Yeah.
I said, I have such PTSD because of Penelope. And even with minute things of, you can't record today. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just crossed the bridge, paid a toll. This is money, paid gas. And it was so like,
yeah, he definitely made certain things difficult.
You know? And again, that's my healing that I will have to eventually have towards that person. Because again, I don't have a choice.
He's not going anywhere.
Exactly.
I mean, unless he just chooses truly to go somewhere. But like,
right.
If that day never comes, then yeah, he's kind of just, we got to, deal with what we got to deal with.
But I think that's also the final straw of everything of this was one, like you asked me before, what was it that made you like get over that hump? Not again.
We're not crying. We're not crying today again.
So why? Go away, frog. Go away. So the final straw of this and what really made me, Lord child, why? If y'all don't think this content is like the best content that we ever have, take me off of that damn IG live, bro. I was meant to be behind the scenes.
I could
not seen, just be heard. No, so Ooh, I can say this last part, and then we got to wrap this up because this is a long episode, but we just need this transparency because I know people go through this and nobody talks about it. But the last straw of everything was, this was one of those friendships that even if I wanted to run away from, I could never.
Oh, don't make me cry. Hold on. You're not going to make me cry. Okay.
Because of Turtle.
Yeah.
Like really put that into perspective. Like, what am I gonna say? It's like, oh, so I'm your godmother, but I don't talk to your
I don't talk to your mother anymore.
And me and your daddy never really got along. So it's just like, I'm sorry,
like,
y'all.
You're welcome in my home, but your parents are not.
But your parents gotta go. And like, you know, there's just so many things. And also like the layer of just like, I'm truly her godmother. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I know it.
No, I'm not just saying that. Like, legally, I'm truly her godmother.
No, I know. You're on all the documents.
So
I know.
It's just like, it's just one of those things. Like, what I would never be able to like forgive myself for that.
Yeah.
And that was like the final layer of just realizing sometimes people just need time. And you also sometimes need to have conversations later on when you're prepared to have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also think that had we had that conversation at that point in time, it would have escalated to something greater. And all I would have been able to articulate is, I'm angry at all of this ish. You hear me? I'm just angry at all of it.
And I was so much in my own anger, I wouldn't have received that well.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it was just, everybody was just angry.
It's like I wouldn't have received that well at all.
For similar but different reasons.
Yeah.
It was just that.
Yeah. I want to say out of the very close to 10 years, we're hitting our decade very soon, by the way, of friendship. This is the lowest we've ever been. Not this moment, but like in that moment.
Right.
Like that was I feel like the lowest point of our friendship. Mm-hmm. And that says, I mean, not for nothing, but for almost 10 years, I think that's a pretty great track record. But it says a lot about who we are and how we operate. And I feel like, I don't know, like this is just a lifetime thing.
And I think also you have to put into perspective, and this goes for anything, not just friendships, the energy that you wish to have and that you give to things is ultimately what's going to dictate the outcome. Because if you never want to put forth the effort to whatever situation, it doesn't necessarily have to be a friendship, a job, you know, your fitness journey, any type of conflict, it'll never find a resolution.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, like, are you choosing to be blind? Because we could all be blind, but then you're going to be lonely and by yourself. But that's just on you.
I guess to answer your question, or the question of the episode, is like, yeah, we're friends, you guys. We're family. We're not going anywhere. So you were saying
you thought.
So you were saying it's here to stay.
You thought.
We just
maybe not the IG lives though. I might be
deading that. We're going to rediscuss that.
I'm going to be deading that because I don't like that. But full episodes, yeah. These are the bond.com.
I'm thinking that we start. That's a different topic for it. All right. Anyways, yeah, our friendship is intact. All right. We solid on this side. That's the point. 10 toes down.
The ghetto taught me.
Period.
Hood.
We are ending it.
Yes, we are.
Guys, thank you guys for being here.
Follow us at So You Were Saying _ all socials. We're on TikTok, IG. We'll see you next episode.
Bye.